Okay, this chapter. Let's talk about the palette function of the console. The palette can make rapid attribute changes to the fixture. Take beam lights for example. Make it change color quickly. Every time I adjust its color, I need to adjust it to the color attribute. Use the wheel to adjust the color. This can be very troublesome when we need to make temporary changes during our on-site programming or performance. Then we can make the palette in advance and store the values of these attributes when we need to use it. Just click on the corresponding palette. We can call up the corresponding color. On the right toolbar, we can see there is a separate palette interface. There are also composite interfaces. I'll show you in the composite interface. When we actually call the palette, we also call the palette in the composite interface. The palette interface is divided into many different areas. All, dimming, location, global, color, etc. If it is a separate attribute of the palette, we can store it in the corresponding palette area. For example, now I made the position, the color change. I saved it all in the position area. But only the position palette will be effective. The system blocks the attribute of all other channels. But if it is stored in all areas, we don't have to worry about the palette being unusable as long as the channel attributes of the fixture change. The fixture channel is active. Then it can be stored in all areas. So let's talk about that. How to make color palette. Let's pick a fixture separately. After lighting up the light, find color attribute. Let's activate it first, because we definitely need to store the base color white. The activation method is also very simple. Turn the wheel a bit. See the dot in the upper left corner of the attribute, from the original green state to the red state. That means the current channel is active. Then click the Store button on console keyboard. We need to pay attention to two things. First, there's an overall option in the lower right corner. When we activate it, even though I only chose one light when I was doing the palette, lights from the same library used in the current show can use this palette to change the color. This is called overall palette. If I turn the overall off, just use one light to make palette. Then only when a lamp will make the palette effective. So when we do palette, always choose a light first and turn the overall on. Make this a shared palette. Other fixture of the same type can be used together if we choose more than one lamp at the same time. The color attribute is also activated. Then click Store. In the case of selecting multiple lamps at the same time, even if it activates the overall, the actual storage is also independent palette. Cannot be called to all lamps of the same type. Therefore, the correct operation of saving a shared material is select only one lamp to make the palette. Activate the color. Then click Store. The first thing we just talked about that needs to be noted is the overall. The second thing to note, that's our bottom left corner. There's a storage unit here. Let's expand it. You can see there are two types of units. The first kind, our default commonly used storage unit as fixture. The second type, storage unit as channel. Storage unit as fixture stores attribute for all the states of the fixture currently in use. But when we do the palette, in order to make only one of the attributes of the fixture effective, we need to switch to storage unit as channel. Make other attribute of the fixture will not interfere with the current condition of the fixture. Let's switch it to storage unit as channel. Then click on an empty space in the all area of the palette page. So we have one piece of palette stored. Later words. Let's say I want to save the color palette. I'll just adjust the color first. Just double click on the palette screen, because we hit the store key for the first time. Just to see if it's a storage unit as channel, make sure that overall is on. And then we move on to the next color. Double-click Save. Well, when the storage is over, we can verify that can all the same library patched with fixture can use our palette to change color. So I can click on the palette to check it. The shared palette has been saved successfully. What we just made is palette for beam light. But there are many kinds of lamps on site. If we make each kind of light into separate material, this wastes space on the interface. And when I went looking for it, I also need to identify which parts of the palette are controlling my particular type of light. In this case, we can use a feature of our palette. It's called merging palette. Like my power light. When making palette for power lights, we don't need to make a separate row palette of power lights. We can merge it into the palette for the beam light that we've already made. And after we pick the light, light it up. Activate attribute related to color. Make all of their points red. My first material. It's white light beam. Now the power lights are also white. Let's merge them. Click Store button. Do not change the other options, because we've already set overall fixture unit as channel. After we hit the Store button, just select the position of the white palette of the beam fixture that I have just made. With a click, the system will pop up. This is followed by a prompt for what you want to do with the palette. If we do a merger, just click on Merge Into. It will merge with the white palette from my beam light. I can move on to the other colors of the beam light. Merge one by one. For example, the second color palette of the light beam is red. Then I can adjust the power light to red. Click Store button. Select the red palette. Then click on Merge Into. The same goes for the rest of the palette. Adjust the power lights to the corresponding color. You can also use the special dialog box to adjust the color. It will quickly activate the attributes of the red, green and blue channels of the light. Click Store button. Select Merge Into. We can test this palette. See if they can change the color of both power and beam lights. Now I've made 3. I'll test 3 of them. Can see my current power lights and beam lights. They all change color together. Palette storage, merging, moving, editing operations. Same as fixture and fixture group. Also click the Delete button. Select Palette. Then delete the palette. Alright, we're done with this chapter.